he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. Hi, I'm Christy, and I am the Intimate Warrior. I thank you so much for stopping by, and as always, I send you love. I will come back to that verse that I just read to you in a moment. As many of us are anchoring in more light in transitioning from the limited mindset into the embodiment of love in 5D Earth, the ego is dissolving. Many of us are going to experience revelations in lieu of the approaching eclipse. Revelations teach you about yourself. They have the ability to link you to why you felt and acted a certain way within your life, which at any time you understand the source, you are able to correct your behavior, therefore heal yourself on many different levels, not to mention others as well. Well, I had an experience yesterday that brought on a much needed revelation. I have been dealing with something for about 20 years that has been hanging over my head that I knew is going to be one of the things upon my awakening process that would have to dissolve, be corrected, healed. As I have gotten through my awakening process here to the level that I currently am at, yes, I have made drastic or great progress in healing this wound, yet it is not completely healed. But as a result of this revelation that I experienced yesterday, I know this situation in my life can begin to transition away from me. So this revelation that I had yesterday is going to help dissolve my ego a bit further. Now, it is in my opinion that each of us will have at least one experience that resembles a biblical experience, yet perhaps if you're anything like me, you'll resonate with several stories within the Bible. Well, my experience yesterday reminded me of Judas and how he betrayed Christ. We all will have a Judas in our lives. Several, in fact. Judas denied Christ. Christ knew that Judas would betray him, yet Christ continued on with his path regardless of his awareness of Judas. Judas, like the devil, is the ego that tempts you into betraying your higher self, your higher calling, your true source connection. In other words, your inner Christ. We can't avoid Judas, the devil, or the ever-present ego, but we can become aware of them in our lives. When light reflects onto our troubles, the individual that is centered in love will see their Judas, the devil, and the ego at play. When we are able to see with great clarity from the heart and spirit, we can dissolve the ego. Remember Judas, the devil and the ego wants to betray you and lure you away from the truth. They want you to be upset, in pain, argue with others, hold a grudge, become bitter, and so forth. Love, Christ consciousness, death of the ego will ask you to let it go. These will ask you to see the truth within an experience. These will ask you to forgive the sins or betrayals against the soul. The reason for all experiences is to reveal the truth about who you are. How you respond is always about you. What you think is always about you. What you say is always about you. What you do is always about you. Keep in mind that our Judases, or the devils in our lives, are not actual people who are demons or bad individuals. These are our inner troubles, our inner wounds, our darkened reflections coming out in an experience, making us assume, blame others for causing us harm, for distorting our truth, or the truth in general. These are not bad people. These are our wounds that are asking us to see them and heal them. As I had this revelation, the yesterday's verse came into my awareness as well, to the point that I too can understand what it meant. The one that must speak is usually the one that must be right, therefore is working from the ego, which is death within. The one that keeps their silence is the one that dissolves the ego and therefore continues on the path towards unification with Source, and therefore true enlightenment. On my path, I have always felt that, this might be hard for a lot of people to understand. I've always felt that when we have to say or speak our mind about an experience, how something has caused you harm, how you don't like something. Now, I am not talking about having a friendly conversation with someone and just speaking your mind about a situation where there is actually no harm. But when you have an experience that causes you pain, it is a wound. It is a reflection of the ego that is playing out within our world here. I have questioned whether or not I should, on my path that is, do I even say anything? I understand, I realize you can't say anything and make somebody else understand your perspective. And if it's just your perspective, it's your issue. It's your problem. It's your unhealed wound. It's the ego. So a lot of times I would keep my mouth quiet. Sometimes I didn't. The times that I didn't, it seemed to manifest into something even greater. That's always what the ego does. It's always what Judas will do. It's always what the devil will do. Create more problems. I've also been the person that if there is an issue and it manifests into a greater issue, I see that though. And I'm usually the one to go and correct it. by forgiveness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I even had one today. I got upset this morning about something. Not really upset. I spoke when there was no need. What I was speaking about was a reflection of something my ego was trying to bring awareness to. My Judas. My inner devil. My inner darkness. I apologized for speaking words. Even though my words were never really harsh. I wasn't raising my tone. I wasn't calling anyone names. It was still wrong. And my inner being, my inner Christ, knew that I had just completed something that was going against my own divine soul. I corrected it by apologizing and really meaning it. I wanted to share this with you today. If there is anybody out there who is listening, and if any of my words have ever caused you harm, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.